Steve Kerr spoke short time ago, his exit interview, if you will. We will have Steve on this show tomorrow. We look forward to that. But the Ann Killian question about the Warriors' culture looking like it had taken some hits. And we played you the first part of it where Steve absolutely confirmed it. And on his own accord, brought up the preseason punch and talked about how that affected them all year long. And here's a little bit more of that answer.
I don't think that was all gone and vanished this year. I think there was a lot of that we relied on to get as far as we did. I think down the stretch and into the playoffs, I thought a lot of who we truly are came out, and that's what gave us a chance. Obviously the talent, but the way the guys competed and came together in the playoffs was, for me, was very inspiring and hopeful because I know it's in us. But it was that was threatened during the year, and the regular season matters. It really does matter. I know in this day and age of the players resting and all that stuff, sometimes people say just throw that out. It all matters. We won the championship last year after getting off to an 18-2 start, and these vibes were incredible. That carried us forward, and so this year that was really challenged, and we have to fix that.
It's not a heat check; it's a vibe check. And so, I guess the question many of us, first and foremost, need to answer is: can you change the vibes without changing the personnel? So that's a big question. And by the way, before you respond to that. They've gone and made a liar out of me.
Who?
Steve Kerr will join us today.
Today,
5 o'clock. Steve Kerr live on Willard and Dibs.
And this is Warriors coach Steve Kerr. This is not like some Fugazi Steve Curr. Steve Kerr.
No.
Sanitation engineer from Pacoima. This is Steve Kerr, head coach.
Well, they just told me Steve Kerr, so
okay.
I guess in a way I cannot confirm or deny. But somebody named Steve Kerr is going to join us at 5.
I'll play the percentages
I'm
and
take my
say,
chances.
It's our Steve Kerr, Coach Steve Kerr, and my response to the idea of vibes. And it's tough to dispute because last year 18-2 to start, this year 3-7, 0-5 on a road trip, and the vibes never seem to really catch hold. There was times where the vibe felt like it was right, and then the vibe all of a sudden would be broken again, whether it's a mouthpiece throw, Dre quitting on a play, Clay with the palms up, Jordan sulking, and the rest of it. It never seemed like the vibes got totally right. So how can you go from what happened in October with the punch to next October and have the vibes get right? I mean, is it possible for Jordan to forgive and forget at this point? Can Draymond Green really be as apologetic as he needs to? Can the organization make it right with Jordan Poole? Because I do believe they did him a disservice by not even really giving Draymond Green a slap on the wrist.
Well, and the article from Logan Murdoch in The Ringer certainly suggests that for at least a period of time, and we didn't know this, that Jordan Poole was very upset that there was no punishment for Draymond Green beyond a fine. Does more time heal? Is there something that they can do to attack this in the offseason in a different way? These are the questions. But for me, they also blend with, and oh, by the way, what's his value on the trade market?
Yeah.
And you explore both of those things at the same time, and then you figure out which one makes more sense, and you ride because that's the only choice they've got. Now, I mentioned in all of this, before any of it starts, there has to be a financial question. Because even if you remove DiVincenzo, Jordan Poole, you're already pushing $400 million in payroll and taxes. And Jordan Poole's salary is about to go from what, about $4 million?
3.9
to
28.7.
Okay, so that in and of itself takes you from what was probably a bill that was just shy of 400 up north of $450 million. The very first question that needs to be asked this offseason is, hi, Mr. Lacob? Yeah, are we allowed to do that? That's it. Are we allowed to even keep this group, let alone explore trades where big money's coming back? Or are you telling us that we actually have to go out and just give people away. Now, I think that's unlikely.
Right.
Because the Warriors, and this is why it was so significant, Steph's 50-burger against the Kings. I think, look, round 2 ain't great, but it ain't round 1. Getting to the final 7, if you will, final 8, but somebody bowed out before they did. So getting to the final 7.
Well, you tied for 5th, basically.
Okay.
If you want to play it that way.
That's different. It's not great, but it's at least in the neighborhood. If you feel like, gosh, a couple shots fall here and there, we end up in the Western Conference Finals. If you feel like you're close, I think the likelihood of getting a yes from Mr. Lacob goes up.
I agree with you, but if you think that you were close to advancing to the last 4 in the association, then you can look at how close you were with what you had. And how close you were with what you had didn't really include Jordan Poole because he was almost a non-factor in the Lakers series. He had 1 good game. In the game you lost, game 1, Jonathan Kuminga couldn't get off the bench. So if you really believe that you were that close with what you had, you can also look at Jordan and Kuminga and say, well, they might be expendable because with Gary and Kevon and Andrew and the big 3 and J-Mike and Moses, by the way, Moses Moody, we feel like we have enough to where maybe we don't need, if we can get Jordan and Jonathan and turn them into 2 30-year-old ready-made vets off the bench, we're better.
But they better be good. They better be dynamic. They can't just
be
vets.
Be dynamic. They could be Otto Porter Jr.-esque.
I disagree. 20 points a game is dynamic. That's dynamic in the NBA.
What are the average in the playoffs?
Doesn't matter.
No, that's all that matters.
No, because
his 20 a game in the regular season was empty calories.
But literally, out of the words of Steve Kerr, the regular season matters. Like that regular season, it sets you up for the playoffs. They won this thing out of the 3 seed. They did not out of the 6. I'm not saying it's the end-all, be-all, but it matters. Right. Jordan Poole is a very good player in the NBA. He's got flaws. There's growth that needs to happen. I'm not giving him away.
I'm not giving him away either.
Giving him away for a bench piece because the bench piece is 30.
You're going to get 2 bench pieces.
They better be good. They have got to be good.
Was Otto Porter Jr. good?
Not like that.
Was Gary Payton II good?
They were good in tiny little roles.
And that's what you need.
No, I need somebody who is going to be north of 25 minutes a night and is a dynamic scorer. Or my answer is no.
Well, you're not going to get that.
Then Jordan stays.
And
that's my take.
Well, and that's a take I think that's going to assure that you don't win next year. Well, because what we saw this year, and I don't believe that between now and October that rift can get healed. I just don't believe it. And you went through a breakup. I went through a breakup, and I'm 3 years removed. And I've gone back. I've gone back 3 years.
Those are 3 different breakups, brother. But go ahead.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I've gone back 3 years later and tried to make amends for some of the things that I did wrong. And the apologies that I offered were not accepted at the same level as they would have been if I did it in the moment.
Right, but I can't speak on what's recoverable in someone else's relationship. That's up to them.
Right.
I have no idea. Obviously, it did not come far enough this year, but it is a different thing when you're trying to do it in the midst of basketball versus not.
Yeah.
I like time away, some perspective on how the season ended. I don't know. That's all I can say. I don't know if it's recoverable.
Yeah.
That's up to them.
I don't either. But
we'll ask Steve.
I don't think that Steve knows. Honestly,
I think you got a better shot at knowing than we do.
Absolutely, Mark. No denying that. But the only people who know, and really the only person who knows, is Jordan Poole, because he's the one who was aggrieved. And so if Draymond has already come to him and apologized as well as Draymond could, and Jordan didn't fully accept it, then that's that. And if Draymond hasn't done that, and Jordan is open to it at this point, that's a totally different thing.
Let's never forget, and I know that the deal was worked on well before this, but that man sat down with a pen and he signed a paper for a multi-year deal after the punch.
Well, the deal was already in place before the punch, and I would argue that the deal is in large part what precipitated the punch.
Maybe, but
that's my opinion.
The bottom line is Jordan. He may not have a choice. He may not have a choice in the matter. The Warriors are looking to extend Draymond Green, and they are not looking to give Jordan Poole away. So you got to factor that into this. It's like, can you get over it? has to be blended in with, do you have a choice to not get over it?
Oh, he's got a choice.
Does he? He's going to ruin his career if he just decides to pout for the next 3 years.
4 years and $128 million.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that he could pout it up for 4 years and he could go out there and do what he's done?
That feels like a bad choice, doesn't it?
Well, for $128 million.
Yeah, but is that the end-all, be-all?
I don't think so.
That's not his goal.
I don't think that that's what he wants.
Yeah.
But if he wants to be elsewhere and he's not sent elsewhere and Draymond comes back and it's just back to business as usual, I don't think that you're necessarily going to get the Jordan Poole that you want to get. That's my opinion.
Based on everything I've heard and read, I think Jonathan Kuminga is closer to requesting another location than Jordan Poole is. Poole literally answered at the end. He's like, why would I be anywhere else?
Right.
I don't know why I would go anywhere else. I'm here. We won a title. I don't think that he is dying to get out. But yeah, these are questions that are hard to answer.
Just real quick, the problem with trading Kuminga is he's only on the books for $6 million next year. So you can't get enough for Kuminga to even trade him.
Trading him by himself, I don't know how much sense that makes.
None, yeah.
As an add-in in a Pool deal, that could be different, no doubt. All right, let's get out to you, okay? And again, we got a big announcement at 3. We got Steve Kerr at 5. We got the doc at 4, and then the rest of it is just you. No Cap in Oakland. Lead us off. Hey, No Cap, you're with Willard and Dibs. What are you doing?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What's cooking?
Hey, I think the Warriors should trade Clay, and I also think they should trade Draymond. I kind of played around with the trade machine yesterday, and I came up with something for Clay. Clay to Toronto for OG Anunoby, Chris Boucher, and Otto Porter.
Now, why is Toronto? No, why is Toronto? But No Cap. Why is Toronto doing that? Toronto wants a mid-30s player at 43 million.
Clay, because they compare Clay with Van Fleet. They need shooting badly, and they already got Siakam there. I think that could be a good little core guys right there.
Okay.
And I will flip Draymond to Indiana Pacers for Miles Turner.
Perfect.
That'll be my off season.
I don't mean to sound dismissive. Not happening. It's not that it's even.
No Cap. Put your name in the hat if Bob Myers leaves. I like your chances of getting the job. No Cap. Don't let him do that to you.
No, it's not that you, from a basketball sense, it's not that that's crazy. It's crazy because they ain't doing it, and they've tried to tell you about 13 different ways just in the last week and a half. They ain't doing it. They're not doing it. They like the big three. They hadn't even left the court yet, and the Athletic is like, Warriors are working on an extension with Draymond Green.
Curry, Anunoby, Turner.
Yep.
Who else we getting from Toronto?
Boucher.
Former Warrior.
Bobby Boucher?
Chris Boucher, drafted by the Warriors. Yep. It's a homecoming. And OPJ, who he's probably well rested after not playing this year.
He played 8 games.
Did he?
He did.
Give or take. I didn't think he played at all.
We looked it up yesterday. It came up. Yeah. We looked it up. Yeah.
Are the Warriors better in this dream hypothetical?
No.
I know it's not going to happen unless No Cap gets the job. And I'm throwing my cap in for No Cap if Bob leaves.
Listen, again, I try to say this off the top of the show, okay? You're allowed to have your opinion about the Warriors should move on from anybody. Hell, someone called Steiny and Goo today and was like, got to trade Steph. Time to go to Steph and ask him where he thinks he can win in this league and get him there. And I'm sitting here going, you know what? I need some fresh air. I'm going to take my dog for a walk. You're allowed to have these opinions. And I'm sorry if it feels like I'm going to shoot you down. They ain't doing it. So you can do this all you want.
Steph doesn't have a no-trade clause. I'm just saying.
They ain't doing it. They're not going to do it. Not going to do it. Not going to do it.
Steph is owed $167 million over the next 3.
Do you really? What would happen the next day of a Steph Curry trade? I just want to visual. Give me 10 seconds so I can visualize and feel what this city would do and feel like the day after Steph Curry got sent to the Knicks.
Depends who they got back. Are we getting Randall back? And my guy Obi Toppin?
I'm sure that would. No, you're right. Then everyone would be happy.
Yeah, no doubt.
They're not doing it.
It's the youth movement.
It's not going to happen.
It's not happening. But what if Joe Lacob signs Draymond Green to a 3-year extension and then turns around and trades him? What a cold piece that would be.
I mean,
that would be so sweet.
Are you even allowed to do that right after you sign a deal?
Probably not
like
till
6
January,
months, right? You got to wait. So I do have this.
Unless it's a sign and trade.
Let me break this thought off, though, real quick, just because of anybody who is like, gosh, it's time for the big three to be done. I always enjoy this. It's so funny to me. Fans love win now. You have to win now. Stop telling me about the future, Giants. I don't want to hear about Luciano.
Casey Schmidt, bro.
Hey, bro.
Let's go.
Come on now.
Come on.
Going to see him tonight. Anyway, win now.
And win later.
And then people are like, okay, let's win now. And then people are like, but the future. Okay, we're gonna cultivate the young guy. You need to win now. But we're gonna. Oh, dude, I just knocked the camera over. Sorry, Zoom.
It's not till later.
Yeah, someone might need to do that live. Help me out with that thing. I'm gonna balance it. There we go. Anyway, point being, like you gotta pick a lane. You can't do this, fans. You can't sit here and yell at all their teams to win now, but also, and it really.
Yes, we can because
can you?
The Warriors organization themselves. 2 timelines. It's all we heard about.
They didn't make that up. We did.
Correct.
Bye-bye, camera.
Don't worry about that. But they indicated that they were following a path of 2 timelines. They didn't have to call it that.
Right.
They didn't have to call it anything. We made that up. But what they have done with the young core and the veteran core, they were signaling to all of us that we want to win now and also win later. But the win now guys said, we can't win now with James Wiseman, so they traded him.
Right,
now I don't think that you can win with Kuminga and or Jordan Poole, in my opinion.
Well,
so now you move off of them too.
They were both on the roster last year, and
they
you
sure
won.
were.
Yeah, and Jordan was one who played a big role. So
was Juan Toscano Anderson.
He played a role. I don't know if he played a big role, but anyway, my point is I do think that sometimes as fans we get overly obsessed with the future. You know me. I am the last sports media professional in America when it comes to the draft. I don't care. I don't get into it.
It's a shame.
Larry
draft
sits here and
tonight.
looks at me. I know, right? Wembanyama, here we go. Where's he going to play? Just tell me later.
I turned you off yesterday because you were not breaking down the Niners 6th-round picks, and you promised me you would.
I turned Larry off, too. Believe me, because I wouldn't do it. I don't care. I don't want to be told what someone's grade was. I don't want to be told who won the day. I want to see you play. Then I'll tell you how you did in the draft, okay? Because nobody gave the 49ers a good grade for their Brock Purdy pick in the 7th round.
I loved it.
But it ended up being a big damn deal, as it turns out. So I'd rather get there and let's worry about it then. It doesn't mean I have no eye to the future. Of course, you have to think about tomorrow. You got to sock a little money away when you can. That's not what I'm saying. But gosh, we get obsessed with it. And I think part of the reason we get obsessed with it is because we just get fatigued with what is. The big three? They get rid of them. Really? Really? You want to get rid of the best thing that's ever happened to this organization, even if they're starting to decline a little bit. Not a lot. And you want to move off that because what? You're tired of them? Like, I don't get it. And all for this hope of someone that you don't even really know if they're going to be good. I mean, Kuminga, sure, I'm excited too, but stop acting like that's a known quantity. We have no idea. It's no different than the 49ers subject that we've been talking about for a year. But Trey Lance, but what? I have no clue what he is. And if he is something, great. But if there's something tangible in front of you that you know, why would you not go with that?
Yeah, it's different in the quarterback position, but the comparison is somewhat appropriate. The difference here is you are in a window where, yes, they are deteriorating. Steph, Clay, and Dre, they're not getting younger, and they're most likely not getting better. Now, Steph Curry, his decline has been much slower than Klay Thompson's this year, and Draymond Green, I think his decline is going to be much more rapid with each and every passing week and month with his body, how much ice he requires just between times on the floor. His upside is in his past. So if you believe that those three can still be a championship trio, then you need to give them some help now.
Sure.
And Jonathan Kuminga is not ready to help now. And Jordan Poole is not ready to help at the level that they want him to help now. If he was, he would have been more integral or integral in the playoffs. And instead, he spent large periods of time on the bench because defensively, he is awful. And offensively, he's not good right now.
Well, and Steve spoke to this, but again, now is May. And no, you don't need them to be perfect now because the season's over. You need them to be perfect or better next year.
Next April.
And, yeah.
If you can get there.
And I like, is it unreasonable to think that players of their age will be significantly better a year from now? I don't think that's unreasonable at all. I mean, of course they're at a point in their career where they're still going to be ascending. In theory.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't think it's for sure, but I don't think it's crazy to think that.
Well, and the third year is a year where you take that leap. And this is something we can ask Steve Kerr today at 5 o'clock in terms of the development of Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, and what Jordan Poole did this year in terms of steps forward or steps back and what those players can do between now and October, let alone now and next April, to be able to be a part of a playoff rotation because they weren't really this year.